So yes, I start with my name, Ayanda Siboto. I am an entrepreneur, a communicator, and a connector. Just to give a little bit more context to my experience in the space, I founded Zimele Beauty Network 5 years ago. It wasn't my first business, but it was my first official and registered business. And it was aiming to get beauty professionals from across the continent to build sustainable businesses. It's a skill that women across color, but mostly Black women, actually have and use as a career to make a little bit of money on the side. So our aim was to try and help those women to create and build actually sustainable businesses out of that skill. And then my second business, which is Informally Digital, which I founded officially last year. It's a consultancy, and we focus mostly on partnerships, impact, and inclusion. So we help in the sense of impact entrepreneurship, corporates and big organizations that are involved either in the acceleration or the entrepreneur education space, or even just in the investment space, really be able to find and include into the growth of the ecosystem other organizations. So within, let's say, the South African context or the township context, a lot of people are building businesses that have a great impact on the community, but everybody seems to be building in silos. So we highlight the power of inclusion, the power of the actual partnerships, and how do organizations go about finding the right partners to go about and roll out programs with, and how do entrepreneurs find ecosystems like that to help themselves to be able to grow as a community, right? Because you don't raise a child alone, you raise the child as a village. It takes a village, as the saying says. And similarly with our economy, it's going to take a village. It's going to take a couple of us joining our efforts and how we build our businesses to truly be able to build a more sustainable ecosystem for entrepreneurs in our country. Third one was the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative. I was the marketing manager there for a while. And what we did there that is still very useful, we built a number of acceleration and incubation programs. To name but a few, there's the Women in Business program that runs 4 times a year now that you can check out if you're interested. It's top tech tools for women in business. And we identified tech tools that people should and need to learn how to integrate into their businesses that are going to kind of streamline how they operate. So that would be a 10-week program where we incubate about 30 to 40 women based primarily in Cape Town. And then we have a program called Youth in Business. With Youth in Business, it would be to help ideation stage entrepreneurs figure out what they're doing. So everybody has an idea. Everybody thinks it could be a great business, but you probably should not launch a business out of the very first idea you have, right? It's about how do you iterate and test whether the idea you have is actually a proper business, or if you should be pivoting and focusing in a different direction. So with the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative, we focus on biotech, gaming tech, big data, fintech. There's a number of variety of different acceleration programs that we've worked out to help people interested in these sectors and interested in building in these sectors find communities. So if you're interested, you can check out any of their programs on their websites. And then there's Future Females Business School, near and dearest to me. It's virtual, or it is a virtual accelerator program that we launched about 2 years ago now. And we basically, in partnership with the UK South Africa Tech Hub, launched the program where we would sponsor 50 entrepreneurs per cohort to go through this 3-month program with business mentoring and business coaching, but where we'd really take ideation and early stage entrepreneurs through a process where they learn how to build, grow, and scale their business. But we move. A growth mindset is a mindset of being able to be teachable in a process where you're, technically speaking, supposed to be driving, right? We have this constant notion, or we've been taught this constant notion by school in our education systems, that you have to work up to being a certain level of professional in something to be able to teach other people, to be able to execute it, and to be able to call yourself an expert in it. But with the way the world works, there are no hard skills, or there are very little hard skills left that qualify you to be an expert in something. It's all the little skill sets that you pick up along the way that help you to get better at what you do, to better be able to teach, and to better be able to utilize technology to use what you do and take it to the people. So a growth mindset is something that I advocate absolutely at the beginning of any process. You are teachable. When you are here to learn and when you are teaching someone else, please consider the fact that everyone is teachable. As long as you're still willing to learn how to do something better, you're going to get better at it. But never ever stop and say, this is below my education level or above my education level. The only way the world grows is people continue to adapt and people continue to grow. So always remember, growth mindset. A growth mindset is the most stable mindset for an entrepreneur, because then you know you're not done yet. Whether it's a win or a lose, whether you're failing or succeeding, you're continuing to grow. And that's the important part about it. So what is marketing? Marketing is a number of things. There is a very big umbrella around what marketing entails. Many people think marketing is one of these things, whereas marketing is actually a combination of all of these things. When you work on a marketing strategy, you work on something that involves literally all of these things, right? But as far as an early stage entrepreneur is concerned, you have to pick your focus. You have to pick your marketing mix, as we call it. So what are the 2 or 3 things that you need to be taking from this cloud that you're going to focus on right at the beginning? Because you're not going to be able to do everything because you're not Superman. Even me, as someone who's worked as a marketing manager before, did not manage all of these things at the same time, but you have to outsource, you have to build a team. But right now, at the very, very, very beginning, some ground rules of things you should be focusing on as far as building out your marketing strategy. Good marketing. When I say ground rules, I mean, these are the things you should be doing, right? Number 1, good marketing means you must be easy to find. People must know where they can find your business. So where are you? How do they find you? How do they get your product or your service? You're not doing a very good job if people are still asking you that question after you have sent them an advert about your product, right? You must either have a website or a Facebook page, or you must be findable somewhere on the line. Number 2, clear communication. People must be clear on what it is that you're telling them. So what are you selling? The worst kind of an advert is the advert that leaves you confused about what they are selling at the end of it. You never see those kind of adverts on TV. They tell you exactly, buy this TV at this price, available until Saturday. Boom, boom, boom. Concise, clear, what do you want, right? Number 3, compelling call to action. So compelling call to action in terms of what do you want people to do? You want them to buy the TV. You're not saying we have a TV and it's nice and it's nicely priced. You're saying buy this TV now, it's on special until Saturday. Call to action. Your marketing is good if it tells people exactly what you want them to do. Don't wait for them to summarize or to assume or to eventually get to the point of making a decision on what action you want them to take. When you want them to do something, you need to be clear in telling them in your messaging. There always needs to be a call to action when you are putting together a marketing message. Number 4, it must be attractive. Use relevant and relatable imagery. So you really have to capture people's attention. And that doesn't mean using outrageous or outlandish imagery. Depending on what your brand is, some people like to use memes, some people like to use stock photography, some people like to use pictures they took themselves of their products, right? Find what works for the type of brand that you're working with, but always work with imagery, because people remember more of what they see than what they read, because words take a little longer to process, but images are a little bit more instantaneous. So if you're going to be marketing on social media platforms or on posters, a person's eye is drawn to the picture before it's drawn to the words. So make sure the imagery that you're using is attractive. It'll capture a person's attention and it relevantly represents your product. And then simple form. Last point. So don't try to impress people with your vocabulary or with too many offerings. Be incredibly direct about your message. So if you're selling shoes, sell shoes. Don't sell shoes and then you say, and we have underwear, and we have flags, and we have linen, and we have... Keep it simple. Tell people exactly what you have, where they can find it, where you need them to go and buy it if it's a limited edition sale, but be very direct in your marketing message. If you follow at least these 5 things when putting together, it's kind of like a good checklist to see once you've put something together if you're on the right track. But like I said, you don't focus on everything based on what's on the previous slide. You pick 2 or 3 things that you're going to build a strategy around, because you're only one person and you really aren't going to be able to know if what you're doing is effective if you're trying to do too many things at once. So pick one thing, if not 2 or 3, but 1 is good as well. If you say, I'm going to try and get good at this type of marketing for my business, this is what I need, then make sure you have a checklist in terms of these are the things that you should be looking at after you've put your strategy together. At the bottom there, I put a little referral for those of you who would like to learn about the more nitty-grittier versions of marketing. So a number of the things that were in the previous slide is a girl called Lebu Lion on Instagram, on Twitter, and she has podcasts. It's at Lebu Lion. Go and check her out. She has some amazing resources in terms of teaching people about marketing and the difference between marketing and PR and advertising and how to do that better and good and focus in on a lot of that. So if that is your focus, if that is something you're interested in, then I definitely point you towards her. Marketing tools. So when it comes to marketing tools, there was traditional versus new, and there's online versus offline. Okay, so take you around. Traditional marketing was usually newspapers, flyers, posters, right? A lot of people say, this doesn't work anymore. It's not as effective, blah, blah, blah. New marketing, and this is new because only in like the last 10 years did this actually start to become a proper marketing tool besides just social media tools. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter in the sense that they serve different purposes. Facebook is a more long form content, so you can write notes, you can focus in on the text, you can embed links directly on the text, you can embed videos, so it's a bit multi-dimensional of a platform. Instagram focuses more primarily on imagery. So if you have a business that's really focusing on something that people can see, something that people can really be able to react when they see the picture about, then Instagram would be a marketing channel for you. And then Twitter is micro messaging. So that's more on-hand, everyday engagement. Because you're limited to a certain number of characters, even though you can add a picture or a video, but your interaction and your attention is limited. So you need to be able to get the messages through short, sweet, to the point, and going on and on and on a regular basis. So these three platforms are different in that sense. Okay, let's move on to offline. Offline would be word of mouth. So yeah, people telling other people about your business. That is an actual marketing tool, practical marketing tool. Community boards. So people who post on their church boards, at the grocery, at the supermarket, at the library. A lot of people actually get a lot of traction and a lot of business referrals through some of those boards, as well as just offline networking. So going to events and talking to people and telling them about your business. That actually constitutes as offline marketing. If we looked at online would now be, having an actual website, because a website can be a great marketing tool because it allows people to find you from anywhere in the world on the World Wide Web. Social media. So there are a number. I've only listed 3 on the new marketing tools, but there are a wide variety of number of other platforms that you could be using to engage your audiences, depending on what it is that you need. And then there's instant messaging. So instant messaging would be similarly to your WhatsApp or your Messenger app on Facebook or tools of that nature. Now, I mentioned these things and I put them into 4 quadrants because they each belong on the same side, but they also each belong horizontally and vertically. Okay, how to do these better? Number 1, tracking links are good for traditional and offline marketing. So now that I've explained what it is, tracking links through a system like Bitly. Bitly is a free website that allows you to create a link about where your promotion is happening. So if, for example, let's say you're printing flyers and you're printing 500 flyers and you've got 5 people in your team who are going to go hand out these flyers in different areas. What you're going to do is, if all of these links are sending people to your website, so all of these links are sending people to the one website, you put in that website on Bitly and create a link. So website 1. And then you'll create 5 different links, right? Website 1, website 2, website 3, website 4. So each pack of those 5 packs that people are going to receive, so 500 posters, 100 posters each. So each stack of 100 posters has a different link printed on it. Every single one of those links is going to take people to the same web page. Every single one of those links you create on Bitly, because Bitly only creates a link for a website that you already have. So every single one of those is going to take them to the same link. But because on the Bitly site, you'll be able to track how many people have clicked on that specific link. So if I'm giving the 5 people that are taking the 100 posters each to 5 different areas, I know which area I gave which link, and then I can go back and be able to look how many people actually went on the website using link 1, how many people actually went on the website using link 3. All going to the same website, but it's a free and it's an easy platform to be able to track traditional and offline platforms to see if you have traction. So if you have a business card that you're handing out at networking events that you're giving to people for word of mouth, have a specific Bitly link on there if you want to track if people actually go ahead and click and how many people actually go and follow through. So there are ways to measure that traditional and offline marketing can be effective, even though a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's a gamble, it's throwing away money. It's throwing away money if you're not measuring. It's throwing away money if you're not sure how many people actually use the money that you put into, or use the services based on the money that you put into doing this type of marketing. Similarly, you can do the same on new and online tasks. They all have engagement analytics. Every time you're using a marketing tool, you want to know if it's working. Because if it's not working, you're throwing money away. So you want to know if you're throwing money away. The good thing is if you integrate, for example, your Facebook and your Instagram, so if you log into your Instagram account on your Facebook page, if you have both, then it can pull the analytics for both of those. Twitter also has analytics embedded into your page. So it's really good and really easy to go behind and see posts per day. Are people liking the post with pictures, or are people liking the post with quotes? On what posts are they commenting? So when you give a call to action and say, comment below here or share it to a friend, are people actually sharing? Are people actually commenting, right? You want to see what the engagement is. Are people clicking on the post, reading it, and then not commenting? So they've seen it, it's just that your call to action wasn't compelling enough for them to leave a comment, for them to finish reading. So your analytics can tell you a lot about what you need to change to do your marketing better. But you need to be able to track all the marketing you do. Otherwise, you're throwing money in the wind and you're just hoping to get business, but you don't know why you aren't getting business, right? This is the most important part of marketing tools. Whether it's traditional, new, offline, online, all of them can be tracked. It's about finding how and understanding how to do it so that you can be doing it better. Now, measurement and analysis. Why is this important? Number one, every strategy is a calculated guess. We're guessing. We're hoping that we're going to reach this many people. Analytics lets us know if we have, right? It's a realistic overview in the sense of Facebook said they can show our ads to over 100,000 people, but realistically, how many have seen it? How many have engaged with our posts? It's so that you can better get a framework of the audience that you have with some of the platforms that you're using. Number two, it's so that you know your numbers. How is my business performing? And I say that specifically, not the vanity metrics, but the engagement and the sales, right? So vanity metrics is a business saying, yeah, I want to reach 1,000 likes on Facebook and I want to reach 5,000 followers on Instagram. If those 5,000 people, only 10 people are actually buying what you're selling, then you're not really getting a return on your investment. There's no real sales factor out of that, or your conversion rate is really, really low, as we would say. So don't focus on vanity metrics, but focus on engagement metrics. Look at your posts and say, on the post that you're asking people or you're selling to people a product to buy, are they buying? Are they following the link to buy? So where in this process are they breaking off, right? You need to know your numbers, not just the numbers that'll make you feel good because you feel seen, but marketing is about impact, turning words into sales, engagement. So you need to understand what's happening in the back end of your marketing tools. How much are you spending? Yeah, all money must be accounted for, especially at early stage levels, especially if you don't have a very big budget to be able to print flyers and posters and have Facebook ads and have Google ads and you narrow down your focus to the things that are going to be most impactful to you. And then you look at how much return do you get on the money that you're spending. So if you say on Facebook, for Facebook ads, I will just spend 100 Rand a week, right? How much value does that 100 Rand a week actually generate? So how much attention does it generate for your page? How much engagement does it generate to a page? And does it generate sales? Because if you continue to spend money and you're not generating sales, then you're ineffectively, once again, like we say, throwing money away. Number 4 would be, is there a return on investment? Return on investment will inform your future spending patterns. So based on how much you're spending, you'll know if you should spend a bit more or a bit less, right? You'll know what you need to be changing based on the reaction that your post is getting or that your page is getting. So are you getting sales or are you not getting sales? Return on investment, like I said, it can differ between value, engagement, and sales. It all depends what your marketing was aiming to achieve, but you need to be measuring for something. Based on what you want to achieve, you need to measure for that. Otherwise, it's falling flat and you're throwing money in the water. And then number 5 would be to understand your customer. So you really need to know, what are they engaging with? Like I said, are they engaging with quotes? Are they engaging with the pictures of your shoes? Are they engaging with pictures that are memes, right? How is the attention of your audience best captured? Are you capturing the attention of your audience at all? This is how and why you go back and you look at your analytics on your Instagram and you look at your analytics on your Facebook. When you posted a picture versus when you posted a video, the good thing about Facebook is it'll even tell you at what point a lot of people drop off in your video. So if you have a 2-minute video and after 10 seconds, 80% of you people drop off, then you know your video was very ineffective, because within 10 seconds, people just said no. Your analytics really help you to understand your customer behavior, so you know what more to make of and what to make less of, right? So now you're thinking, okay, they really like the pictures where I post the actual products versus when I post quotes. So now for next month, for your content plan, you know, you're doing a lot more push and you're putting a lot more effort and money into the post with pictures, into the creation of the pictures, because you know people like pictures more. But understanding what works for your customer is what analytics are for, so that you can do marketing better and more informed. Okay, when you're creating your strategy. So this is where it gets a little bit technical. So creating a strategy is, first of all, important. It's not optional. It's absolutely the crux of being able to get your marketing right. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a process flow of what it is that you're doing. You're not just winging it, because if you're just winging it, you don't know what to measure for. But if you have a strategy and you have a protocol to follow, you at least know what you're going through. So the first step in what we call our lean marketing funnel, just to explain lean marketing is when you're doing marketing on a very, very tight budget. So lean startup, I don't know if any of you have read the book, but lean startup is how to basically build a business with what you have to make it work, right? So you're keeping it very tight, very lean. And this is the example of a lean marketing funnel. So your strategy starts off with awareness right at the top. Awareness means the point at which where you find people. So how do people get to know that you are selling shoes? Are you advertising on Instagram? Are you advertising on WhatsApp? Are you advertising on Facebook? Where are you? You need to first make people aware of the fact that you have a product and it is there, and then you need to activate them. So that's captivating their interest. So activating would be then, you know, telling them a little bit more about the product. Now that they've seen the picture, they go, ooh, I like this. Now this is where you give a bit more product detail to hook them, to tell them this is exactly what you get and this is why it's important, right? Retention means they stay and they buy. Retention is the point where you actually have to make a sale so that that person is becoming a user or an observer to an actual customer. So you retain the person as a customer, and then revenue is when they actually give you the money, so give you the value. So sometimes, depending on what your business is, if you're selling products or if you're selling services, at different points, this scale or this strategy could stop, for example, let's say at retention, because if you haven't launched yet, you're trying to get people's attention, so awareness, you're trying to activate people, so to get them excited about your brand, and then you want to retain them. So if you are launching within 2 months, but you want to start building up the hype, this is where your sales funnel would stop. Awareness, activation, retention, awareness, activation, retention. But if you are open and you are selling, then you want to get to the point of revenue, because you want them to buy what you're selling. So revenue is when they actually make and purchase a sale. And then the last R is referral. So the person who has bought tells someone else about it, and the funnel starts all over again. So when they tell someone else, it means you get another customer who is aware, and then they go through that process. But understand which part of your business is each step. So if you say my page for awareness is Instagram, then Instagram is the page that you need to be focusing on as the face of your business that does the sales. This is where you capture people's attention, right? Activation happens on WhatsApp, because now you're not going to have too much effort for you to have a Facebook page. You don't know how that works, but you have WhatsApp and you're always on your phone and you're selling a little, let's say you're in a little Instagram boutique. So then people can go in there and then they can DM you, hey, love this. And then you can tell them a little bit more about the product. This is what it is. This is the price. There's only 10 left. Grab by the end of this week for the special. So now you send that through to them. Retention, they go, okay, how do I place an order? This is where you take them to your WhatsApp and you say, this is where you, this is the price of it. This is how long you have. You have 48 hours to make the payment, right? When you're doing smaller interactions like that, since we are talking early stage, you want to put a time limit on how and when people can make payments. Otherwise, people delay with your money. Otherwise, they're like, yeah, well, I'll buy month end, or I'll buy, you know, when you're giving out a price, you always want to make sure also with payments, you communicate a time frame towards to just add a little bit more of a rush to it, right? And then revenue is when they actually pay you for it. So yay, you're now a customer. Thank you for your purchase. Your purchase will be there soon. And then obviously if it's a good product or a good service, they're going to refer you to other people. But once again, what we said, tell people what you want them to do. So if you want them to tell other people because it's a limited edition sale, tell them that after they have purchased. Thank you, limited edition. If a friend of yours would like to know more, if you know someone else, you know, don't be ashamed to sell yourself. Don't literally be ashamed to market, because a lot of people like to be modest in this day and age. And it's like, yeah, modesty is how you go broke. So when we're talking through a sales funnel, this would be a much more easier to follow example. Like I said, your awareness is your advert and your post. So if you are a very simple business, this is how you can map it out for yourself. Your awareness is your advert or your post. So your post in the newspaper or your post on your Facebook page. Next, link to sale. Information about the product that they are interested in. Not about who you are, not about why you do what you do. Don't dilly-dally. When you're trying to make a sale, sell someone the product, right? And I don't mean hard sell, but let them know things that make the product more attractive for them to buy. Don't start dawdling in 17 other directions. So don't have the link on your page if you're running a special, be to the About Us page or to the general customer page. If you're running a special on the pumps or on the earrings, the link must go directly to the page where the earrings can be added to the basket and for sale, right? Take people to the point where they have made the inquiry of interest. Information about the product that makes the product a must buy and a must buy very soon. Check out the purchase. They need to pay you so that you can get their product to them. And like I said, the last bit is engagement. You always engage your clients, whether it is to just send a thank you SMS if you're via WhatsApp, whether it is if you are actually using, an online store to auto generate a thank you special about that, and then let them know that they've been added to your database so they can receive information about upcoming specials. So what a lot of people do, or a lot of other platforms do, for example, Airbnb will offer you like your unique code. If you're someone who's tech savvy on that level, you can be able to do that. If a person makes a first purchase from you, then anybody else that makes a purchase from them gets a 10% discount or something like that. If you can afford it. If you don't give discounts. Don't. These are the types where you start to put together a database of people to communicate more marketing to. Sales is never a once-off. Sales is linked to your marketing because the audience that is a part of your sales is the audience that really needs to receive more of your marketing because you've already established they want to buy from you. So now how do you captivate and continue to engage their attention? By knowing who they are. So you either are going to add them either to an email database or a cell phone database, or I don't know how you process your sales, but marketing is inextricably, like I said, linked to sales because the messaging is about being able to sell a product or sell a service. But you need to be clear about what steps do you need in that process. Simple. It's awareness, link to sale, checkout, engagement. And then for those of you who are like confused because you have a lot of ideas or you have a lot of products, right? You have 25 types of shoes and 17 types of dresses and 25 types of coats. You're not quite sure what to focus on and you're not quite sure what's working. What I love to recommend is something we call the minimal viable experiment. So you can put together a matrix like this for yourself. This is just an example of what it looks like. And then you list your products and your services on the side. And then you have a look at your competitors. Because an MVE is going to show you what is the easiest version of this product that you have or of this type of business that you have that you can lead with. So you need to be able to know, number one, do a bit of research. Who are your local competitors in the space? So if it's an online boutique for men who wear size 9 and upwards, so large men, large and tall. Another store is called large and tall. So if it's for large and tall and it's specific and it's niched, who else locally does large and tall, right? Who else globally does large and tall? And then you list your products or your services, but your products in this case on the one side where it says product or service. And then you list the names of the organization, the top 3 or the top 4 that you found, right? And you tick off based on the products that you have, what products are they also selling? Because now you need to see exactly how you compare to your competitor as per product, not as per branding or look and feel, or, if we're talking chicken, yeah, it's Nando's, it's KFC, it's Chicken Licken, you're listing your exact competitors that sell what you sell so that you can see based on the large number of products you have, what is it that you have that they don't have? Because certain retailers will focus more specifically on either pants or either shoes or either coats. Since you have all 3, looking at your competitors, what is most out there and what is least out there? What is least out there is usually what we would suggest that you try or you start out with, because that's the easiest thing to get people's attention on, because that market is not already very saturated. Now, you can enter a saturated market to market your product if you have really, really good marketing. But if you know that there are other guys in this business that are much stronger than you already, then try and come in offering a product that the other competitors are not as strong at yet. And this is where you use a table like this. So like I said, local competitors and global. If you're running an online store and operating on the internet, then global competitors, because people from anywhere in the world can be able to see you on the World Wide Web. So have a look. What are they selling? What am I selling? And then do they have it? And then how can I start to market myself to have an edge? And then we get to the part that is about building the actual brand. A lot of people dread this process. A lot of people love this process. I'm one of the people that love this process. But as far as tools, so now that we're talking about marketing, tools, ones that I would recommend, number one is Canva. Gone are the days where you sent a graphic designer 450 Rand and you hoped that they would send you a logo that is good enough. You have the technology and the access to free software where you can go and create your own brand identity if you do not have the funds to pay someone for it. So when it comes to any type of content design, canva.com, free, easy to use. And this you can use to create marketing materials of any kind, whether you have a newsletter, you want to make a poster, you want to make a flyer, you want to make an Instagram post, you want to make an Instagram story post. They have all of the free to use templates that you can customize and use in your own brand colors to be able to create a uniform and good looking brand look without it costing you extra or without bleeding you tons of money, right? So you can take a little bit more control of the design process, number one. Also, secondly, you never really want a brand look that looks like too much of a mix mash, that looks too much like it's confused, like it has too many elements all over the place. But you really want to be able to simplify and make sure that your blues are all the same blue, your reds are all the same red. So this platform helps you to be able to properly be able to identify across your posters, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, everything that you post anywhere is exactly your brand colors and exactly the right dimensions and sizing for that. You can even make print-ready documents that you can send to a printer, high quality, from Canva. You can make your pitch deck if you're going to a place where you have to present your business on Canva. Go on there. The number of templates they keep creating for people to use are expanding month on month on month. There's always something new. TikTok, there's templates on there. My number one referral, there's no shame in the game. Last night, I was on a webinar with the head of digital marketing at MultiChoice, and she oversees over 34 social media platforms. And she was like, she advises all of her juniors to get on Canva because it helps you to move a lot quicker in the creation process. This doesn't say you don't need a graphic designer. If you want one and you want something very specific and you don't have time to create it yourself, you can definitely go ahead and use a graphic designer. But for those of us who don't and would like to get started and would need something that's nice, Canva's your friend. The Google Suite, I always recommend the Google Suites. People definitely underestimate what you can achieve with Gmail. And if you go ahead and purchase a domain name, you can integrate that domain name so that your emails all come through your Gmail account, or you can just have a Gmail account for your business. It integrates you to Google Drive. It integrates you to all the other features that Google Drive has, which is Docs, the spreadsheets, the PowerPoints, the Google Slides. You can create Google Forms if you need to create surveys to find out things from your customers. So there's a lot that you can interlinked in the Google Drive platform for you to use. Also, Google has free courses, guys. If you want to know intro to digital marketing and how to do that better using Google tools, Google has already created courses for free on there for you to learn how to do exactly that, right? You don't need me to tell you how to use Google better. Google has already created courses to tell you how to do that themselves. Similarly with Facebook. So if you want to do Facebook ads, Facebook for Business is a platform on its own that has entry-level courses and videos that you can watch. How do I make this post perform better? How do I use Facebook ads? How do I optimize an audience? All of that is already on Facebook for Business for you to learn how to use that platform better, because they want you to stay on there. They want you to keep your business on there. So they definitely do a lot in terms of teaching you about how to use these platforms and how to use these platforms better. The other thing that's nice is an integrated marketplace. So for those people who have a Facebook store or a Facebook page as their store, it can integrate, if you don't have a website, directly to your WhatsApp, because obviously WhatsApp is part of the brands under the Facebook umbrella. So you can have the link on your Facebook ad, go directly into a WhatsApp message that you get immediately so that you don't miss sales, so that people don't say, we inbox her all the time, but she never answers. So you can integrate that with your Instagram, you can integrate that with your WhatsApp. So the suite of what Facebook can do for your business for people who do not yet have a website. Sometimes you don't need to go spending money on a website. You just need to figure out the platform that you're on. How do you use it better to market your business? And then there is MailChimp. So for those of you who really have service-based products and not so much products, so you're not really selling a shoe, but you're selling courses, but you're selling workshops, but you're selling, services or skills. MailChimp is definitely a tool, once again, free to use, or it has a free version. There is a paid version, but the free version allows you to have, I think, up to 2,000 subscribers on there. You can upgrade it as and when you need it, but you can create lots of things. For example, your email marketing chain. So sending out periodic newsletters. Once you have people that have bought from you on your database, you want to maybe send them information once a month about specials. You don't want to spam people, but at the same time, you want to keep the communication open so that they are top of mind, or you are top of mind in terms of what you're offering and what you're selling. So you don't hope that they'll see the next Facebook ad that you post, but you definitely jump into their inbox since now you have their email to let them know about specials that you have. You can create landing pages. So if you have a specific sale about something, a landing page looks like a website, except it isn't. It's just one page that tells people about who you are, about what you do, and then they can leave an email address and it can be added onto the database if they want more information about your product or your skill. So if you are someone who is a workshop coach or facilitator or freelance facilitator doing workshops, it's nice to have a little bit of a landing page on there. You can add your own pictures, you can add your own video. All of this is drag and drop. It is so easy to create. It'll blow your mind. It's like playing around on Microsoft PowerPoint. Super, super easy to be able to create a landing page for yourself that you can then send to other people so that it seems like you have a website, even though you don't actually. And then customer surveys. So if you want to know kind of, are they happy, or are they happy, or are they ready for new product sales? Like I say, the more you keep engaging with your clients, the more you keep knowing what they want, how they want it, when they want it, and the better you can get at your marketing. You need to speak to people. If you don't speak to people and read how people interact, then you're throwing money in the water and hoping for the best. And that really works out. And then to close off, summary points from the session would have been, number one, results. Results are super important. If you're not adding value or making sales, then hey guys, are you really in business, or are you really in the knowledge sharing business? So as far as our definition is loosely concerned, you are in business once you are making sales. Once people are buying what you're offering, then you're in the business. Otherwise, you're just knowledge sharing and therefore awareness. So you need to be very intentional about what you want to do with your business. We like to have a vision. This is what we're trying to create. This is who we're trying to be. This is what we're trying to do. But at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, what are you doing? I'm selling shoes. At the end of the day, what is Amazon doing? What is Facebook doing? Their first initial vision was always clear. Everything else expands on top of that, but the initial vision that you always come back to in terms of these are the results that matter. Be clear about what those are, and don't be driven by what other people pick up on it. Be clear about what results you are going for. What do you want to achieve with your business? The second being affordability. So being able to use the platforms that are accessible to you that you can afford. Stop hoping and wishing that you had other programs, that you had other tools, that you had other software. Find out what you can do with the things that you have access to already. Whether that is picking up a course, whether that is picking up a new skill set, right? It doesn't mean you're going to do that forever. It just means in order to be able to effectively get to your audience, I need to learn how to do this thing to see if it can work. Adaptability. Strategy changes all the time. And this is why you need to monitor your results. This is why you need to see where things are going. It's also a thing about timing, right? Sometimes it's not the right timing to put out certain marketing messages based on what's happening in their environment. Also about good timing. For example, when Clicks was having their little hair scandal with Tresemme a few weeks ago, Discam suddenly had all of their online ads having women with afros and big celebrating African hair when their competitor was being shunned on the internet or dragged on the internet for having a message contrary to that one. So a negative message on African hair. So listen, look at the timing of what is working, how are things working, and then be informed by your customer behavior on how to make changes. But you have to keep trying new things. You have to keep being open to what else can we do? How else can we make it work? You can't just put up a Facebook strategy and then 3 months later hope you're going to get a ton of clients. You have to be paying attention, and you have to constantly be making little changes to make sure, are you actually getting traction and is it actually working? And then lastly is authenticity. So execution is a big factor. Everybody can have the exact same product or the exact same strategy, but how you execute it with your own personal flavor to your own audience, that is the big differentiator. You can't follow a vision that's too broad, but you really need to be motivated by the vision, but execute directly to what is going to make a lasting impression to your audience. Don't try to be overly unique or overly perfect or sound overly anything, but be true exactly to the vision that you had when starting the business. Don't make everything about the story, but literally make that come through in your execution of your marketing platforms. Make the story come through. So don't tell the story, show the story through how you highlight certain products, through how you highlight certain keywords that you use in your messaging all the time. But keep it authentic and don't try to use the same jargon that everybody else is using, because then you're going to start to drown. And if you sound like every other chicken brand, then why would I go to you and not the other chicken brands that I already trust? You know, you need to sound as authentic as possible to what it is that you offer. And yeah, that would be the end of my presentation. So as far as workables are concerned, in the resource pack, I'm going to include just a little bit more information about the marketing sales funnel, just to explain what it can look like, as well as an example of what an MVE also looks like with an editable template, so that if you would like to use that for your own business, you can. But I think to sum it up, the important part is you need to use marketing and sales strategically in your business right at the beginning. You're not going to master everything, don't try to. You're not going to have the funds to do everything, don't try to. Focus on where your audience is. So based on what Grant's presentation is, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. But he's going to show you how to find your target markets, how to hone in on who they are and where they are. When you know where they are, you can start to engage with them to know what works for them and what doesn't work with them. Don't try to do everything. Focus your efforts, measure your efforts, and then look at the results. If they're not generating sales, why? If they are generating sales, how can we make more sales? What do you need to do more of? But use marketing to inform your sales strategy so that you can have a business that is making money and not just one that is looking nice. Because looking nice doesn't feed you at the end of the day. But you need to be able to generate some kind of value and some kind of profit that enables you to be able to grow with the direction that this business is growing. So as far as that is concerned, that would be it for me. Thank you very much.